One American News, the One American News Network, I think is the full name, has pretty much gotten taken off of the cable news programs or to cable news services that they were previously on. So AT&T, and then now recently Verizon, bye-bye. And of course, in their world, this is a big deal. Now, most of their viewership is going to be stripped away. They're going to have to go all online or find another provider. And they were very much propped up by AT&T at the beginning because AT&T wanted some right-wing balance or something like that. But OAN, if you're not familiar, is completely unhinged, even farther right than Fox News, way more dishonest. They got much more prominence during the 2020 election because Fox News called the election for Biden because Biden won. But they kept pretending like the election hadn't gone that way. And so that people who didn't like Fox News for calling the election for Biden went over to places like Newsmax and OAN. But why am I talking about this? So we have a clip to look at of a host on OAN addressing the fact that they're being dropped by Verizon. And in it, it goes instantly from her saying that Verizon is lying about the variables that led to them being dropped by Verizon, to her saying that this is a communist government overtake or something like that. And in prepping for the show, I saw this clip and tweeted out something about, by the way, Luke PP is on Twitter if you want to follow me, the fact that people really don't understand the distinction between government censorship and private companies enforcing their terms of service, or private companies making decisions about who they want to carry on their platform or whatever. And the point that I made was, you can be against, for example, Twitter censoring people for spreading misinformation. You can be against that and have a really good argument. You can be super kind of open speech all the time on these platforms is the best policy. That's fine. But what always happens is people don't say that. People don't say, listen, I think that Twitter should be an open platform, so I get mad whenever they censor certain types of speech. No. Instead, people always say, this is a violation of free speech. This is a violation of the First Amendment. This is against our Constitution. This is the government cracking down on free speech. And it's like, but it's Twitter. Twitter's not the government. So let's just watch this clip and we'll continue the conversation. So she's responding to Verizon dropping them.
Yes, for those of you unaware, Verizon is claiming that the Herring Network couldn't come to a monetary agreement. According to them, we demanded more money and refused to negotiate on a deal, which is hilarious because I happen to know that the Herrings actually offered a heavily discounted rate to keep us locked in, and it was Verizon that turned us down. The fact that these telecom companies have the ability to invoke this...
How she does this flip so quickly, I don't know. Watch. She literally says, these telecom companies, blah, 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 and she's talking about Verizon, and then she'll instantly flip it over to the government somehow.
Tyrannical authoritarian power should absolutely concern everyone, regardless of where you stand politically. And I don't care if this is redundant because everyone has their own awakening process, critical mass. But if we continue to allow this to happen, we will all of us, left, right, blue, red, black, white, gay, straight, the list goes on and on, all of us. We will all find ourselves walking down a...
I don't know. We'll let her finish, but I don't know if she's reading off a teleprompter or what. Her cadence is super weird. It's like not giving her all of the lines as she should be getting them, or she's trying to present it like she's reading off a teleprompter, but it's just notes. I don't know. This is weird cadence.
Very slippery slope that will ultimately lead to communism. Just ask any legal immigrant.
Well, did you see that? Communism refers to something relating to the way that the government is set up and the way that the government operates. She just said, I guess the tyranny and authoritarianism, which, okay, of the big telecom is, or whatever, the cable company, you know who she's talking about, the companies that are now dropping them. That tyranny is a slippery slope to communism. To communism, as in the form of government. But the government doesn't have anything to do with what just happened to you.
Who's fled communism and has done the work to come to our country. This is exactly how a government takeover begins.
Did you hear that? This is how a government takeover begins. But she's talking about Verizon deciding not to pay her company, the company she works for, to put something on their platform. That they have, complete decision-making power over who they platform on their service.
And if you love freedom, if you love the ability to speak your mind, to believe in whatever it is you believe in, you love that you can marry whoever you want to marry, or for heaven's sake, even have the ability to identify as whatever furry creature you've made up or whatever pronoun you've
Okay, first of all, you said if you love the ability to marry whoever you want to marry. I'm pretty sure you're not pro-gay marriage, guy. Like, you probably don't think that. You want to take away those freedoms, probably.
Convinced yourself is your reality. Well, then we all must come together now and put an end to this. I know it's hard for you leftists to wrap your brains around this fact, but if they can cancel us conservatives, then they will inevitably come for you.
Do you notice that, like, are y'all getting what I mean about the cadence of her speaking? It's just really weird and segmented and not what I usually hear from people reading off teleprompters. Like, I get reading off teleprompters kind of difficult, but it's more like she's reading one line and then pausing and then, I don't know. Whatever.
It's not going to stop here. This is just the beginning. I truly don't care what your political beliefs are because I genuinely believe everyone is entitled to a difference of opinion. In fact, I encourage diverse and independent thought. But it is absolutely crucial that for once we defy the powers that be, that we all come together, set aside our differences in a unified effort so that we can recognize the horrifying danger that lies ahead. If you're watching this and you're laughing and scoffing because you think that you're immune to what's coming, you just wait. Enjoy your freedoms while you still got them. But for anyone that's with me and is willing to contribute to fighting this beast, here is what you need to do. Okay,
so then she goes to how they support. And what she says is call Verizon, okay? Was the first thing she listed off, and then I turned it off. Call Verizon. But you just said that this is a government takeover. This is how a government, push for communism starts. Why are we calling Verizon? Shouldn't we be calling the government? I mean, it's fascinating. And you hear this every single time that like a conservative gets canceled off of, I shouldn't say that. Whenever a conservative gets banned from Twitter, they say, this is the beginning of communism. This is a violation of the First Amendment. This is showing that, our government is headed towards authoritarianism. It has nothing to do with the government. That's a private company. Take it up with that private company. What are you talking about? Yes, they have the power to choose who they want to have on their platform, especially in the case of Verizon. You're saying they're obligated to agree to pay you a bunch of money to have your broadcast be shown on their platform. Why is that? That's their obligation. And if they don't do that, then we're in a communist country. You know what? I like that. CNN, if you don't give me a show on CNN, you are trying to cancel my voice. And you, somehow along with the government, are bringing us to communism. It's so weird. No one's obligated. No private company is obligated to give you a massive voice on their platform. And it seems like a lot of conservatives don't understand the distinction between the private the private sector and the public. Yes, if the government had a, free speech platform and they were censoring people, that now you're getting into free speech territory. Now you're getting into First Amendment. But we're talking about Twitter. We're talking about Verizon. We're talking about private companies. Anyways, you get the point. I know this isn't hard for y'all to understand, but you just see time and time again, people go, oh my God, I'm getting canceled. And that's why we're becoming communist. No, maybe the society is becoming too censorial. Maybe companies are too touchy with who they censor, all that type of stuff. That's fair criticism for sure. But pretending like this is our government becoming communism when it has nothing to do with the government is whack.